Good afternoon. My name is Amy, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the Selecting Teen Pregnancy Prevention Programs for Native American Youth conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speech remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you'd like to ask a question during this time, simply press star and the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, please press the pound key. Thank you, and you may begin your conference.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Selecting Teen Pregnancy Prevention Programs for Native American Youth. My name is Mila Garrido-Fishbein, and I'm Program Manager for Healthy Teen Network.
And Vanessa Jafar, the Training and TA Associate at Healthy Teen Network. Thank you for being here. So before we begin, we'd like to review the objectives for today's webinar. At the conclusion of the 75-minute webinar, you will be able to describe the process of assessing program fit and selecting an evidence-based or effective teen pregnancy prevention program or programs for serving Native American youth, apply culturally sensitive strategies to their program while maintaining fidelity to program core components, and share specific examples of adaptations Native American youth apply other grantees. That we scheduled today's webinar for 75 minutes to make sure we have sufficient time for questions at the end. Also, we recognize that many folks identify in different ways, but for the purposes of this webinar, we will be using the term Native American youth. It is an expectation that the webinar will answer many questions and concerns of grantees. Additionally, every attempt will be made to answer questions posed by participants at the conclusion of the webinar. Questions may be typed in the chat box at any time during and at the conclusion of the webinar. Instead of using WebEx software, I'd like to briefly review how to use a chat box, whiteboard, and polls. A written question at any time by using the chat box at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And look at your screen to see where the chat box is. And as you can see, Mila is typing, "Welcome to the webinar." So next, to use the whiteboard features, you can use the icons at the top left-hand side of your toolbar. You each to write your name and organization on the whiteboard, just as you would if we were all meeting in person and doing introductions. Any problems and can't locate it, just let us know. Thank you, Lisa. Hey, Ben. Hey, Alicia. It's all to see you. All right. So we've got down. All right. Next, to review a poll, look at the lower right corner of your screen and click on the answers that reflects your opinion. Begin in 1 second. Give it a couple of seconds. Oh. So see this on the lower right corner? We'll be adding a couple polls throughout, and you'll be in that poll function at the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I would like you all to respond to the following poll about the program or programs you either selected or are considering. So again is, what program or programs have you selected or are you considering? And you see on our poll, there are many different responses. We'll give you a couple of seconds to fill that out. Five, four, three, two, one. All right, now we're going to close the poll. In a couple seconds, we're going to show the poll results so everyone can see what kind of programs we're using out there. So it seems that a couple of you are using All For You, the Clara program, Respect the Line. Another handful are using It's Your Game, Keep It Real, Reducing the Risk, Teen Outreach Program, and there are some others, and another handful had no answer. So throughout the webinar, we can discuss some of those other programs that some are implementing during the question and answer section. All right, so next, Mila is going to discuss FIT.
Thank you, Vanessa. For the purpose of this webinar, we are going to approach FIT and selection a little differently today. Rather than emphasizing the same, somewhat rigid rules, we are going to talk about how to select an evidence-based program that may not have been proven effective for your population, but addresses the risky behaviors you have identified among your target population, and has achieved potentially similar changes in behavior to those that you wish to achieve. We're going to move beyond the tables of evidence-based programs and understand why these programs are considered evidence-based and how they can potentially improve outcomes across a broader range of youth than those for which they have been proven effective. You have completed or are near completion of your community needs assessment. It is now time to set or reassess your initial selection of the best evidence-based program to meet the needs of your youth. Viable and acceptable to your community, doable within your implementation size, and help you achieve your stated goals. There is a lot of encouragement in the field for only using programs that have been proven effective for certain populations, especially for whom the program was designed and tested on. This can be very limiting for selecting a program for Native American youth, as very few have been shown to be effective with this population. Lack of proven effectiveness is a matter of not having been tested with Native American youth, could not be successful with these youth. Additionally, all evidence-based programs are based on a finite number of theories, share similar goals, and often use similar activities to achieve these goals. In other words, they and youth they target have more similarities than differences. As part of today's webinar, we want to focus on how to look beyond the tables of approved evidence-based programs to select a program to fit your population, by looking deeper into the similarities as opposed to the difference. It is to note that at this point, I'm going to be making additions. You are just going to be considering programs for FIT. Of of this process, you are going to be thinking through essential adaptations that might be necessary in order for a program to fit the youth, communities, your organization, stakeholders that you are working with. There is no single standard for making decisions about adapting programs. There is a model for adapted programs, but that's a topic for another webinar. For now, we will focus on how to select a program that actually fits. However, it will be important to make sure that we are all on the same page by reviewing some key definitions. With evidence-based programs, also known as evidence-based intervention. This program is a program proven through rigorous evaluation to be effective at changing sexual risk-taking behaviors among youth. Although there are countless teen pregnancy, sexually transmitted infections, and HIV prevention programs being implemented throughout the United States and internationally, some have been proven effective in changing sexual risk-taking behaviors and are included on the Office of Adolescent Health list of evidence-based programs. That says that a program not included on the Office of Adolescent Health list of evidence-based programs is slightly less effective than others on the list. It simply means that the program has not been rigorously evaluated and or did not meet the criteria set forth for inclusion. Because they're effective at changing sexual risk-taking behaviors, and programs on the age list must have demonstrated evidence of a positive, statistically significant impact, or at least one of the following outcomes: sexual activity, such as initiation of sex, frequency of sex, rate vaginal, oral, or anal sex, number of sexual partners. 2. Effective use, that is, consistency of use or one-time use for either condoms or non-contraceptive methods. And 3. Sexually transmitted infections and pregnancy or birth. Evidence-based programs are based in theory, target to change knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors regarding certain risky behaviors, and being demonstrated to change behaviors among certain populations of youth at certain periods of time. Selecting an evidence-based program, it is critical that you consider other aspects of an evidence-based program beyond the population for which it was designed. Goals, and they match the goals of the evidence-based program that you are considering. The principles of the program align with the principles or beliefs of your community. Identify a risky behavior you want to impact. Are the same risky behaviors targeted by the evidence-based program that you are considering? Are the activities that are core to the evidence-based program acceptable to your community? How adapt or tailor the activities to be more culturally acceptable? Then you ask yourself, can you provide the training and technical assistance and other support to promote effective implementation of this program? Do you have fiscal, the staff sources to support the implementation? And is implementation with fidelity likely to occur with this program? No questions address the population yet. It's necessary to select a program that fits your needs. As adaptations can make an evidence-based program which meets all of these needs, but may, for example, be for African American urban youth, be a good fit for your youth. We will look at some specific examples. First, we will orient you to a tool that may help you determine if a program will meet your needs. To assist you in assessing a program to select for fit, Housing Network has a program fit checklist, tool that I think you could use and it will be very helpful. You should receive these tools separately, but we will be able to distribute the tool along with the electronic version of the slides. The tool is straightforward, as you go through each of the 5 of assess a program for fit. This section is color-coded for each separation. Key questions to consider for each step are listed with a table for capturing your information. Step in the checklist is to assess fit with the participants, the user that you'll be working with. See from this excerpt from the tube, you have table where you can log the critical information both about the program as well as about your potential participants. You can document if the fit is sufficient and finally describe potential adaptations needed. Here of the tool showing the table for capturing information on age, race, ethnicity, and sex. Now showing step 2, that is fit with your organization. As you see, the questions to consider are provided, as well as a table for recording your information. In the third, you can see that you must compare the program goal with the mission, and values of the implementing organization, as well as assess if the match is sufficient or if potential adaptations are needed. Then you'll ask about some setting compared with the intended setting for the implementing organization. Assess fit with the stakeholders. Here's an excerpt. You see what you are asked about community resources. Is a group already implementing similar efforts? What existing resources in your community, organization? And you are asked to check if the fit is sufficient and there are any potential adaptations needed. The fourth step is to consider adaptations that will improve fit. Here, the two white spaces for describing potential adaptations. Affirm potential adaptations will maintain the core components and fidelity, as well as a space for considering the cause of the potential adaptation, whether training is required, the feasibility of the adaptation, and whether additional materials will be required. I note that each of the screenshots provided of the two far have excepts. For the step 1 to 4, you will want to fill in the information requested to answer the questions for steps, and you need to fill out a new tool for each potential program, as I said, assessed for fit. In other words, if you 3 different programs, now the 3 different times, 1 each program. Some part 2 will be easier to fill out subsequent times. Information about your use, community, and organization will not be changed. For this reason, you have the tool available electronically for download on the Health Team Network's website. In step 5, the tool allows you to look at the potential programs together. In this, as you can see, you narrow the number of potential programs. As you with the room for summarizing your assessment. Combine each of your potential programs all in one space. Identify the program, assess the level fit based on information gathered in step 1 to 4. Check yes or to indicate if the program is recommended for implementation with fidelity, and you also have spaces and notes. Most program fit checklist 2 provides you with a comprehensive way to move through step 1 through 5, considering the relevant questions for each step.
To have a tool for assessing fit, we want to share specific examples of evidence-based programs and how they might be used with Native American youth. we briefly review some of the key elements of these 5 evidence-based programs, many of which have been selected for use among Native American youth, where the similarities and differences and how they might be easily adapted for the use with your youth. 5 evidence-based programs we're going to review are Becoming Responsible Teen, also known as BART, Assisting Rehabilitating Kids, ARC, Drawing Respect Line, and the model. Please note that these programs are being used solely as examples for education purposes. Neither HTN nor FISB is endorsing the use of these specific programs. Two programs we will talk about are BART, Becoming a Responsible Teen, and ARC, Assisting Rehabilitating Kids. To give a brief overview of BART, the goal is to clarify values and stress communication, negotiation, and problem-solving skills. It is for both genders, ages 14 to 18. It is usually conducted in non-school settings. It has 8 sessions, each 90 to 120 minutes each. BART stresses abstinence, includes content demonstration, and each group should have a male and female leader. BART was designed and found effective for African American youth. It has been tested on other racial ethnic groups, not Native American youth, however, and not as rigorously. One could assume, however, that BART could be culturally adapted and used with Native American youth if the goals, timing, setting, and leader needs are aligned with the target community and population. The grantee has currently selected BART, but we included it here because of the tie with ARC and because the principles of Kwanzaa that is based on could very easily be adapted to reflect principles of Native American communities. In these cases, the principles as they are written match those of Native/tribal communities. Are on a number of other lists, such as CDC and national campaigns lists. For example, as an evidence-based program that was tested on Native American youth and was successful in changing risky sexual behaviors, as shown above, is a 12-session program designed to decrease abstinence, safe sex, and reduce risky sexual behaviors in substance-dependent youth. The program is delivered in small groups after the participants have received their detoxification drug treatment. From BART. The program encompasses 2 sessions on HIV information, 5 sessions on risky sexual behaviors, 4 sessions on problem-solving skills and anger management, and 1 session on motivational aspects of behavior change. ARC is probably not a program that you initially considered, but in the particular nature of the program, however, it was included here because it promotes safer sex practices and was tested in Native American youth. So now to discuss draw the line, respect the line, it's your game, keep it real, and rarer model. Have draw the line, respect the line. Draw respect the line is a program to delay sex and increase safer sex through establishing and maintaining limits. Respect the line includes 19 classroom sessions that can be given during a standard 45 to 50-minute classroom period. During the first year, 6th grade students participate in 5 lessons focused on using refusal skills in non-sexual situations. In the second year, 7th grade students have 7 lessons that address setting sexual limits, understanding the consequences of unplanned sex, pressures regarding sexual intercourse, and practicing refusal skills. In the final year, 8th grade students receive 7 lessons on practicing refusal and interpersonal skills and participating in activities regarding HIV, STD education. It was in Northern California, and the evaluation found no statistical statistically significant program impacts for girls on any of the program outcomes, but was positive for males. The line has been selected by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, therefore peer support would be available. It lie in the length of the program and maintaining steady staff and participation over 3 years. Next up, It's Your Game. It's Your Game is an intervention developed to prevent HIV and teen pregnancy. It focuses on healthy relationships, risk behaviors, sentiments, and reproductive health topics, including contraception. It's a space program that targets middle school, computer-based intervention that consists of 12 lessons in both 7th and 8th grades and engages parents. Evaluation study results show delayed sexual initiation after 24 months. It requires computer access for all participants over the 2 years of implementation. The test population was 44% Latino, but the program worked for all racial groups tested. However, Native American youth were not identified as part of the intervention population. The Tribal Council of Arizona will be implementing It's Your Game across 3 regions as part of a randomized control trial funded by CDC and supplemented with tribal prep dollars. So this program's effectiveness with Native American youth will be known in about 3 years. Grantees selecting this program have the advantage of peer support and contributing to the outcomes. Also, some of the activities of the program are being adapted, some to resonate with Native American youth. The career model. Career is challenging but potentially rewarding, and it's a great program to undertake. It requires unique staffing and substantial resources. The career model is a comprehensive, multi-year youth development after-school program. As mentioned, it requires intensive implementation and resources, capacity as an agency and among partners, begins with middle school youth and carries them through high school, and responds to delayed sexual initiation among young women. It is tested with urban African American and Latino youth. 2 tribal grantees have selected Carrera and are working with Dr. Carrera regarding adaptations. If you have capacity and desire for such comprehensive and long-term program, the advantage is having peer support with other grantees and lots of training and technical assistance support from Dr. Carrera's team. It has selected by Springs Band of Miwok Indians, the Verona Tract, and Zuni Youth Enrichment Project. So while this webinar is not focusing on adaptation, since there are no evidence-based programs for specifically Native American youth, any program you choose will require some adaptation. Therefore, we would like to provide a brief review of adaptation, green, yellow, and red light changes. Adaptation means go. It's safe to make the change. These adaptations are appropriate and are encouraged so that program activities better fit the age, culture, and context of the population. In many cases, these changes should be made because they ensure the program is current and relevant to the community. For example, if you only change names and things that relate to Native American youth, you can do so without consulting the program developer. Next, adaptations mean proceed with caution. You need a little bit more investigation or some information from an expert. These adaptations should be made with caution so that the core components are adhered to and the adaptation did not cause other issues like time constraints or competition with other program topics. Making yellow light adaptations, it is recommended to consult more detailed adaptation tools or an expert in that particular program before making the change. For you have videos that you believe are more culturally relevant, these should be reviewed and approved by the program developer. If you connect with the developer, grantees may consider asking their trainer for recommendations. However, depending on the adaptation, it is likely that the trainer will refer you back to the developer. And red light. Red light adaptations are those adaptations you avoid making because they may weaken outcomes that were seen in the original research. Because these adaptations remove or alter key aspects of the program's core components, it could be weakening the program's effectiveness. There are many evidence-based programs that you can choose from that will not require red light adaptations, so it is simply best to avoid that would. About what constitutes a red light adaptation as you make your selection helps clarify fit. For example, if demonstrations are not going to be acceptable in your community, then it is best to select a program that does not require them rather than adapt one that does. Similarly, the length of a program can be challenging and should be considered when making a selection. Now, I'm going to pose 2 questions, and I want you to share a response in the webinar chat box, just as you would if we were all meeting in person and you were participating in a large group brainstorming activity. The question for you is, what type of changes do you foresee wanting to make to your program? So please share a response in the webinar chat box now. All right. Oh. Also a reminder that you select send to everyone so that we can all see it. The question is, what changes do you foresee wanting to make to your program? Right, that you type in the answer, there's a down box that says send to, and you can click on everyone because we want to see your answers.
I'm going you to send the answers to everybody so the people in the webinar can see what your thoughts. For a couple more answers.
We'll go in just a couple minutes. So please your time. So thank you so much for these great responses, and thank you for participating. Some responses included changing the videos to show Native youth, changing what we would call the overall program to make the title more acceptable to the community, and adding some cultural language or images as appropriate, spirituality, including Native American cultural symbols, media friendly. Another one that I see is also for use with non-reservation tribes that also educate non-Native students along with Native students. Find ways for the programs to be a bit interactive by including the Native American cultural symbolism. And interactive for non-plain tribes. Thank you so much, everyone, for your great answers. Thank you for your participation. My second question for you is, what are some elements, issues, aspects that are important for any curriculum to better fit your target population? And then, please type comments in the box on your right-hand side, and remember to send the comments to everyone so we can all see your great responses. And the question is, what are some elements, issues, and/or aspects that are important for any curriculum to best fit your target population? We'll give you some time to write your responses down. Again, so everyone knows. Oh, great. I see some answers coming in. Thank you much. Again, just refresh, what are some elements, issues, aspects that are important for any curriculum to better fit your target population? You can go and take your time to give some great answers. Thank you. All right, so thank you so much for your responses. Some of them included sessions having more than 10, the curriculum having more than 10 sessions. Another aspect is to show that youth are valued in our community. Lessons in curriculum to be delivered from that aspect. Parent involvement, definitely. We serve both Native and non-Native students, so it would have to be something that was engaging to both groups. And trying to adapt the curriculum to fit rural youth is the urban settings where they were evaluated. Should address the needs that were identified. They should do sessions giving the limited time given by the schools, and they should have potential to change behaviors and have impact. Messages include positive empowering messages, parent engagement, community and parent engagement, Length of time is a problem. Something included is healthy relationships and dating violence. And some responses included incorporating current and former teen parents, HIV-positive individuals to communicate their real struggles, more focus on teen pregnancy prevention and healthy relationships. The language messages resonate with the youth in the community, should resonate with the youth in the community. And lastly, making the parents know that they are very important partners in the program. Thanks again, everyone, for sharing your responses.
So keeping all those different elements and aspects in mind, we would like to dedicate the last section of this webinar to talk about some specific adaptations for Native American youth. And this section of the webinar will be a little bit more interactive because we would like to hear some of your thoughts about these adaptations. So, examples of appropriate adaptations and in some cases necessary adaptations is to probably incorporate traditional games. Evidence-based programs already include games in the curriculum. So that some of them could very easily be adapted to incorporate native games. Or maybe some of the games that the programs already have are similar to some of the native games. Probably you can change a name or maybe set in a different way that seems something more familiar to the youth. The talking circle. The talking circle is already a Native American practice that most programs include. And to approach the talking circle would be to invite traditionalists or elders of the community to do a lesson as part of the talking circle. This could be at the beginning and at the end of the program. Storytelling as well as including music and dance are pieces that can really make a difference in the implementation of an evidence-based program. And it's something that very easily could be done and could actually encourage the participation of the parents and make them feel that they are being part of your efforts. You invite them before you actually run the implementation of your program and ask them to share some of their cultural traditions, maybe a dance, maybe to share some of their music, to some of their stories before you actually do the implementation or after. They feel that you are involving them in the process. Significant examples are really important. We are going to talk in detail an example how one already existing evidence-based program that wasn't tested with Native Americans can be easily culturally adapted to benefit the needs of Native American youth. So as we mentioned earlier in the webinar, the program Becoming a Responsible Teen is based on the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. This program can be adapted to address Native American principles and beliefs. For example, the 7 principles probably align very nicely with some womanhood ceremonies, or many other ceremony or any other principle that might be predominantly among the communities that you are working with. The 7 principles are in a sense universal, and they can be they are really broad. So those principles can be without really adding text of the program, be adapted to meet those of the population that you're working with. Another ways and more simplistic adaptations could be in role plays. Other programs have role plays. A lot of them talk about dating. Dating is a concept that can be foreign, and it is semi-foreign for Native American youth. It might be appropriate to talk about hooking up. Also, rather than referring to girlfriend or boyfriend, even to indicate person that you're hooking up with. I want to remember, and this can apply to some of you, maybe to everybody, but for some communities, it's common to see youth that travel with their powwow, and they people when they get to a city or a town, and then they hook up, and that's the person that they hook up with. So then put the setting of the role play in a dating situation or in a party. You can say, maybe it was in a 49. For those of you, I'm sure most people know that 49 is a party of a ritual, a celebration, or a powwow. Or sometimes you hook up drinks. So those little changes will make a difference in the program. It will actually resonate with the youth rather than saying a party scene. I know some other programs also require field trips to clinics or to stores for the youth to have the experience to purchase condoms or to learn how to navigate a clinical setting. This can be problematic, especially for very small communities, as sometimes they might only have one small store or where they can actually purchase or acquire the condoms. And we understand that if youth goes to seek condoms, everybody in the community will find out, and that could be problematic. So a way to address that, it could be to create a store in the classroom. So try to recreate it as closely as you can, the stores in that community. And take the students through the process of practicing how to acquire condoms. It will require some creativity and planning from your part, but it will give the youth the option to practice. Also, in terms of visiting the clinic, from the logistical perspective, it could be a little bit challenging at times, given that it will require time out of the community. You will have to address transportation issues. So another way to address these difficulties would be to attach the visit to the clinic with the visit to the store. So you would do it sort of like a field trip where all the class will go together to the store as well as the clinic. An component that we see a lot. I want to stop for a minute. We just got a message that some of you are having some difficulties here. Audio. Is there anywhere that we can address audio difficulties?
In order for somebody to ask a question.
No, this is someone is saying that the sound is kind of fuzzy.
Oh, not from my end, no.
Okay, so I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder, so try to mitigate some of the problems. As I was saying, another component of a lot of evidence, not a lot, but some evidence-based programs is a service learning. Things that you could do to address the service learning component of those programs is to ask you to develop or create a zone about teen pregnancy in their community, to share during a 40-nighter or to share the conclusion of the program with the community. The idea will be to organize a dance about teen pregnancy awareness of the community, what efforts, what programs the youth are receiving. You can also run a native art competition about the reality of your community and how this relates to teen pregnancy. And I would like to open up for that might have any questions or any thoughts about these suggested examples for adaptations to make the programs more suitable for Native American youth.
time, I would like to remind everyone, in order to ask a question, to please press star, then the number 1 on their telephone keypad. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster. Your question comes from the line of Terrell White. Line is open.
Hi. I was trying to write it down when you were going through the list of tribes that were using different things, and I didn't hear anybody was using BART. Is there any tribes that are currently using that?
This is Sarah Axelson from FISB. If I could respond to that question, is that all right, Mila?
Yes.
Great. So I think, hi Terrell, thanks for your question. I think one of the things that we sort of want to reiterate, a bit of background to the question or a little bit of a side note, is that as all of the tribes are going through their community needs assessment, of course there are a lot of things that are shifting and changing, a lot of decisions that are being evaluated or initially proposed curriculum that might be changed, and I think that applies to some of the ones that were shared today as well as to some of the ones that aren't. At this point, it's hard for you, I think, to share what curriculum have been selected because a lot of grantees still have not selected curriculum. So one of the things that FISB will make sure to do once all of the implementation plans have been approved is to share with all of the grantees what curricula have been selected by the other tribal prep grantees so that you all can resource and exchange ideas and have contact information for the other grantees who are implementing the same programs as you. Sure.
There are other questions on the phone. I turn the call back over to the presenters.
We still have plenty of time for you to ask tons of questions and receive any answers, so we would love to hear from you.
Also more comfortable, you can send the questions through the chat box. That many of you still haven't selected a program. I'd like to hear about what are some of your thoughts and questions about some of the tested adaptations and what ideas that maybe have risen as a result. So we have a question that participant for everybody.
Anyone use the program Native Stand? NEAND. Native Stand. Okay. Another question is, are there any groups in programs that are not evidence-based programs since it's a little flexible? Examples are Native Stand or the fourth R.
Anybody joining all that have done Native Stand?
You can either speak or you can type it in the box.
I have a question from the line of Sarah Burkrow. Your line is open.
Okay.
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay, we was just wondering, because we were under the impression that our curriculum did have to be evidence-based, so stand is an option even though it's not evidence-based?
Another question. We'll have to refer this question back to the project officer. Sarah, if there's access on, do you think that you can address that question?
Yes, thanks. So the requirement in the funding opportunity announcement is that programs have to either use evidence-based curricula or substantially incorporate or use elements from evidence-based or effective programs. So if you're considering using a program that is not on the evidence-based HHS list, that is an option, but you will need to talk with your project officer about that, and they'll provide you further guidance for how you would need to demonstrate that that's an appropriate program for you to be using based on the evidence of effectiveness or the suggestion of effectiveness, as well as on your community needs assessment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure.
We have another question. Other folks have suggested that parent involvement is really important. Are there specific sexual health curricula for parents? Would it be possible to add something like this without compromising fidelity to the youth curriculum? Thank you, Mara, for your question. Of adding a component to include parent involvement, addition will be to do it separate from the actual curricula. So, implementing program X, you want the program with fidelity as it was written, and then as a separate component, you could sexual health curricula for the parents. To make the two points in a sense, or maybe putting some lessons in between could compromise the fidelity of the intervention. Additional questions?
We have another question on the phone. It comes from a participant whose information we were unable to gather. If you asked a question, your line is open.
Thank you.
Hi.
I can hear you. If you star 1 to ask a question, your line is open. We have a question from Christine Markman. Your line is open.
Hi, this is Rashid Gog. Actually, I've hijacked Christine Markham's telephone. I appreciate the conference call here. This is really good information about the adaptation. I was just going to throw in a little bit more about the It's Your Game program. As I was involved with the development of the program, and I appreciate your updating on the adaptation of It's Your Game. I just wanted to let everybody know who was on the call that the original program was a hybrid program for use in classroom and on the computer, is available for participants if they're interested in the original program, and they can contact us if they want to pursue that further at the University of Texas.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I see a couple of questions regarding the parent component. Question is, implement something for parents separately may compromise the fidelity of the program if conversations between parents and youth happening because of the current program. And about that question, some evidence-based programs already have homework where they encourage the youth to talk with the parents of their or their guardians or trusted adults about these issues. We have to investigate what is the evidence in terms of having a program in the fidelity of actually different. I mean, if you're implementing program X and you are into the parents program B, how the effects of program B is affecting program X. So we want to investigate that. I think probably that conversation with the project officers. Our understanding is that it will not affect the fidelity of the program because you don't have control over the environment and the program, the program. So if the youth are in better conversations with the parents because of other services that are not associated with the program, that's not something that is compromising fidelity. When we talk about fidelity, we're talking things that you are changing or altering in implementation of your program. For taking a lesson out, changing a video. I hope that clarified, Tamara, your question. We have a group that asked the Bible grantee that was considering using the Carrera model. I believe that replied to everybody. But Shingo Springs Band of Milwaukee, Indians initially proposed to use the Carrera model. However, since then, have moved to evaluate other options. See, there is that we're answering. A question from Teresa. We have been using an internal program for a long time called Date But Wait. This is evidence-based but has shown a lot of good response from students and parents. We are looking for an evidence-based program, however, to meet our project requirements. Thank you for sharing. Certainly, our goal with this webinar was to highlight the fact that though some of these programs might not have been tested with Native American youth, there are some characteristics that can actually serve the problem that you're working with. I try to address the same risk behaviors, they probably address the gender that you're working with, the age range, the setting where it was tested is a little bit similar in your setting. One of the things that we have to keep in mind too is that sometimes when the same indicates, for example, maybe rural community in one state is very similar to the more urban community in another one. So we're trying to encourage you to look, you are going through this process, you already have your assessment data, to ensure to look at these programs closely. We know there is no programs, there is no list of programs tested for American youth, but some of the programs already out there with some tweaking and some creative adaptations can work for the populations that you're trying to target. So I'd like to allow for the last 2 minutes for any last minute questions, comments, impressions that the group might have.
Over the phone, if you would like to leave a question or a comment, it is star and then the number 1 on your telephone keypad.
A couple of you earlier on this session asked if somebody was implementing native stand. We just noticed we had somebody send us a chat indicate that San Bernardino in California is in native stand, but they are present in the call. If there are no any further questions, I'd like to take this time to thank everybody for their active participation.
Thank you so much for participating and sharing some of your great thoughts. And if there are last-minute questions or comments?
Nothing on phone, thank you.
Everybody, I think
this concludes our webinar.
This is today's conference call. You may now disconnect.